Hi guys, and welcome back. The Premier League is back. Honestly, it's been so good to finally get football back underway. And obviously we start off at home, which is absolutely fantastic, isn't it? Nice, lovely game against Brighton. I'd like to say a nice, easy start, but we do have a guest in here who will tell me a bit different. So here we have, if I remember rightly, off the top of my head, it's Josh, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It is Josh.
Hi,
See, I kept thinking Jake or Josh. That's what I had in my head. So, but no, thanks for coming on, Josh. Obviously, Josh is a Brighton fan. Living out in California, is it?
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Close enough. Same country.
I'll take that then. So yeah, obviously, thanks for coming on. It means a lot. Also, give your channel a plug and tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I've been living over here in the States since late 2015, so I missed the entire promotion bit, which was just awful. I did go back for the parade, which was nice, like the big party at Brighton. But yeah, most of my time in the Premier League has been watching over here, so it's not quite as good as it could have been. I started the podcast that I host, Together BHA, a couple of years ago. I'm on my 4th year now, I think. And yeah, I'm just a solo podcast for now, and I've just kind of winged it from the word go. I try and go with a more data-driven approach, while also kind of trying to keep a more optimistic tone if I can. Although under Chris Hughton towards the end, that was very difficult.
Oh, I bet. So obviously, we'll start off by as we have done in previous seasons. I say previous seasons, we only did match previews last year when we started. But obviously, your thoughts on last season to begin with. How did you think last season went for Brighton?
Given our investment in the market, which was very little, we signed Adam Lallana on a free, we signed Danny Welbeck on a free, and we signed a couple of young prospects that have, been in the under 23s, and Jakob Moder, of course, has came into the main team a little bit more towards the end. But in general, we didn't invest a huge amount, COVID being the main reason, and entirely fair. It was the same for everybody, right? It was a very strange year of not really great, decent spend. So with what we had at our disposal, I was pretty pleased with it. We played really attractive football. It was almost just one of those what could have been. I'm sure everybody watching and yourself are aware of the XG stuff. We were kind of XG way over the top, and we just weren't able to finish the chances. So it was good. I was happy with it. Any year that ends with us staying in the Premier League is a good one, but it is getting to the point now where you can see we're capable of more, whereas before we weren't. So knowing we're capable of more and seeing our team continue to not hit those heights that we know we can do is quite frustrating. So it was a 50-50 season.
Yeah, it's a strange one because obviously there's a lot of people obviously say about how Graham Potter's style of football is brilliant, that he should be managing a club without sounding derogatory, better than yourselves. But then yet again, as much as the style of play is interesting, a few seasons now, you've still been in and around where we have been, languishing. So yeah, okay, the football might be really nice to watch. But it's like us, the football we don't, the football we play is boring. But it sort of works for us. It works for us. And it seems that obviously what you've got, it works for you, as it keeps you up as much as our football does. But, I mean, we'll talk about Graham Potter first. I mean, what do you think of him as a manager?
I love him. He signed a 5-year deal and then immediately signed another one shortly afterwards, like for 6 years or something wild. I think he's like contracted through to like 2025 or something. And honest to God, I'd be delighted if he stayed the whole time. When we were in a bit of relegation trouble, there was a fair few people wanting him out. I can think of no better manager to keep to bring us straight back up. He does everything the right way. And for us, it's kind of strange because a lot of people look at it and think they've been in the Premier League 4 years and never progressed. And the thing is that and a lot of people have, right? Like a lot of football fans now, the accessibility to football is just so massive. So most people have watched plenty of Brighton, and the style in play and the revolution that's had to go, like the entire club has had to undergo under Potter. And we brought in Dan Ashworth, who is pretty majorly responsible for what we're starting to see in the England team now. He is the one that started that youth and technical ability stuff. And he's bringing that to us. And his big goal was to take us from one of the oldest sides in the Premier League under Houghton to having 30% of our team be youth products and academy products. And that's a huge goal to be doing it in the Premier League. And we hit it last year already. Like we've already come around that much. And Potter is there to cultivate those people and to do that. And he has had to essentially start from scratch. You know, a lot of the players that Houghton brought in have since been shipped out. So although we have had 4 years in the Premier League, it's kind of two sets of 2 years, if that makes sense. So it's tough to really say anything bad about him. He's just such a nice bloke. He does everything the right way, and he's not afraid to make decisions too. Like dropping Matty Ryan at Christmas to bring in a 21-year-old Robert Sanchez who had last played at Rochdale on loan. Like the balls on a manager to do that, you know.
Yeah, that is true.
A nice guy manager too. Like he's not as nice as he makes out. He's very capable of taking those tough decisions and running with them. And Sanchez got a Euro 2020 call up with Spain, so obviously it was a great call. But yeah, like I love him. I could go on forever about how much of a fan I am.
No, that's a smashing point. As you say, you know, a lot of fans looking outside, trying to look in, seeing Matt Ryan make a move to Arsenal are a bit like, hold on a minute, what's going on here? Like he's been one of your key players in a way, in staying up sometimes with some pivotal saves. But you know, as you say, it's them ballsy moves that he's made that's inevitably, you know, helped in a sort of sense. Obviously, we'll take a couple of comments. Karaji says harp, so I'm all for the harp, mate. Keep harping. Blooming late. I listen. We're allowed to be late. My channel, I say we're allowed to be late. My rules. Ankit says, big up Dan, bro. Thanks for tuning in, Ankit. Obviously, as a Chelsea fan, he'll be looking forward to the Super Cup later on. Good luck for that. Obviously, should make for a good game. Patrick, Bournemouth fan, but thank you for tuning in. Hello, back to your bad self. And Ankit again says, waiting for the Super Cup, as I thought. Surely had to tune in. Patrick, who's a Man City fan, he says Burnley 3, Brighton 3. I think that may be a bit wild, Patrick. I think you've gone all out there with that one, to be honest.
Audacious.
Very audacious. Very audacious. Mark's in the house. Mark, how you doing? Thank you for tuning in. Evening, big man. Evening, big man to yourself. Ankit again says Brighton was impressive in both the games versus Chelsea last year, I must say. Ankit is also still surprised that Basuma is still there. No disrespect to Josh and Brighton. I mean, he's one of those players we will touch on in a couple of questions' time that have been linked with, you know, moves away, especially in this window. Karaji says people are feeling bad for Brighton, but he has spent a lot of money on strikers and can't get one who scores. I mean, that was going to lead me to my next question, to be honest. You know, last season, I mean, even against us, you know, we saw many signs where you were through on goal and they were just going wide, left, right, and centre. The ball just didn't want to go in the back of the net for you guys. And luckily, towards the end of the season, you found a bit of a formula that helped. It got you to safety. We got to safety, which is why we're talking now. I mean, if you know, I say that, but who knows? We both could have gone. But yeah, I mean, your thoughts on that? Do you think that you're missing out on just one solid, decent striker, or do you think more pay will come good?
I think it's an entirely fair comment. The thing is, and this is the problem, like I said, Craig, is that we have spent a lot of money on strikers. We spent a lot of money on players, but a lot of them were in the Chris Hughton era. and they're not what we need for Potter. So, you know, we signed Florian Andone, we signed Jurgen Locadia, we signed loads of them, and none of them were good enough at all and struggled. Ali Reza Jahanbakhsh, what a waste of money he was. You know, people just... Under Potter, we've signed Danny Welbeck on a free and Neil Mopai. Don't get me wrong, like 18 odd million that we spent on Mopai is a lot of money. But the first season he did score double digits. He had a really good season, and we thought he was going to kick on, and he didn't, obviously, pretty clearly to everybody. But to me, and I've said this to a few people, on the one hand, we do need a decent striker. I think that we need a bigger presence up top. Obviously, because we've been missing Glenn Murray from the moment he got retired. And
I was going to say, going back to what you said earlier as well, getting rid of Glenn Murray probably knocked the average age down back quite a bit.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think we do need another striker in there. You know, Welbeck's never fit. Like, I like him as a player. I always liked him as a player, but he's not fit. He's never fit. So, like, I think last year he made 21 appearances, and that was his 4th best in his career. Like, 21 appearances. That's not... You can't rely on that player to be a striker full time. No. On one hand, we need one. On the other hand, there is part of me that says, like, common sense tells me that Mopai's XG, like, unfortunate stuff can't strike twice, surely. Like... I would like to think that his unbelievable chance missing, like, isn't going to happen twice. Like, surely he's going to hit, you know, 10, 11 goals this season and help us out. But you just never know. Football's a funny old game, isn't it? So
it is. And that leads me on to Tom's question. Thoughts on Brighton's top scorer this year and how many? I mean, could you see Aaron Connolly? Is that the player? Do you think he's going to tear it up this season, or...?
No, I think most
that was a solid no. That was a very solid no.
He's a bit of a head case, to be honest, mate. I see more clips of him online out and about in Brighton causing trouble than I do him scoring goals. He's a bit of an idiot, and a lot of fans want him to go out on loan to try and sort his head out. And you're not right. Mopai is a poor man's Werner. The only player that had a bigger differential between XG and actual goals was Werner. Mopai was second in that list. So, like, you've got to think one of them's got to come good. Of course, if Werner is sat behind Lukaku, that's not going to matter. But goal scorers, I mean, we need a new striker, and I think if we get one, I think that player will be the top scorer. Like, that's who I would earmark. But if not, I think Mopai will be that top scorer. I really do think he'll get 10, 11 goals this season as opposed to the appalling record he had last year. And I think with the signing of the Zambian fella, Enoch Mwepu, I think that might be the extra foil that he might need. Like, we can only put it on a plate so much. So,
yeah, solid answer that. As much as you said a solid no, you backed it up as well. That's what I like. That's what I like to see. Obviously, Kraji has said, is Trossard playing more central for you guys?
Yeah, so he is. Last season, I mean, I think Potter played like 13 different formations, but the one he really fell onto was 3-4-2-1, and I think that's what we're going to be playing Saturday. And Trossard has been playing as one of the two behind the striker. He really roams just about everywhere, and he's not afraid to go forward. I think the problem he's had is he has been relied on to be the sole outlet for us. Mopai isn't popular with anyone other than us, I think. And even then it's tough. I think the thing is prior, Trossard was expected to be the outlet. Basuma is a deeper lying midfielder. Lallana was so on and off fitness-wise. And he was pretty much the man to get the ball from transitioning through. And with Enoch Mwepu coming through, I suspect that they're going to be the two behind the one. And that, looking at what he's looked like in preseason and looking at his record prior, could be a total game changer. So to answer the question, yes, he is going to be playing centrally, but don't be at all surprised to see him drift just about everywhere in that final third.
Solid. I mean, there's 3 weeks left of the transfer window. Where does Brighton need to strengthen the most? I know we've touched on a goal scorer is very much needed. But there is also another 10 players on that field. Where else needs to be strengthened, in your opinion?
Wing back, no doubt in my mind. We need.
Are you talking left-sided or
both?
Right.
Reason I say that is because our first 11, if they're all fit, Solly March at left wing back and Tarek Lamptey at right wing back, no complaints, love it. The problem is both of them are injury prone. If we can get solid wing backs on both sides to provide really good cover, as opposed to playing 6 or 7 Dan Burn at left wing back, like if you can provide like a natural left wing back to help him out, I think you're going to be able to, because Potter loves to rotate, he's going to be able to rotate and help keep those players fit. So, and he works his wing backs to the bone. Like they're a focal point of the team. So when he's got both of them out injured, you saw that, like that hurts a lot last year towards the end when March went out as well. So for me, like barring the obvious of another striker, the wing backs need some competition and help because they're thin on the ground. And yeah, that's my thing for sure. Center of midfield, we're stacked. Center half, we have a lot of them. Despite Ben White leaving, we're not greatly in deep trouble there. Wing backs is the other point.
Yeah, obviously, I was going to bring it onto Ben White's move to Arsenal. Personally, I think Arsenal you've done brilliantly to get 50 million out of Arsenal for Ben White. So fair play to you for that. On the flip side, I also think, yes, he is a good player, but he's not a £50 million player. I think they've based that on the decent season he had on loan at Leeds. I think Lewis Dunk is a 10 times better defender than Ben White and probably would have cost Arsenal half the price. Just with age and everything else. So yeah, what did you think? Obviously, it's for me personally, seeing an English defender, go on and hopefully do really well for future England national team. Yeah, how was it for you? Was it a strange one?
It was. I pretty much agree with everything you said. It felt a little bit like daylight robbery. He's not a £50 million defender yet. I think part of that purchase is what they hope to see him become, which is fair. But with no disrespect to Arsenal, they're not exactly cultivators of quality centre halves, right? Like since Tony Adams, basically. So like,
yeah,
when you look at that team, you send him to Manchester City to work under Pep, or you send him to Klopp, like you're like, all right, like yeah, he's probably going to be worth 70 plus in a couple of years' time. But as of right now, I think we had him over a barrel. I think you've got the fact that he's English, he's homegrown, so it's an easy homegrown addition. He just got a call up to Euro. He's so widely respected by Bielsa, and then gets a full season in the Premier League and kind of does a really good job for Brighton as well. And then on top of that, it's the one, it's one of those times where having an owner like Tony Bloom is a huge advantage. He's a Brighton fan. He's a poker player, like professional poker player. He can stare down Kroenke and anybody else and say, this is what I'm taking, and call my bluff. And they did. They spent what he asked them to spend. They had no problem. And yeah, that's one of those times where you just think, like, thank God we've got an owner as good as him, that has our club's best interests at heart. He would have happily, I mean, he did. He turned down £40+ million bids. We would love that 40 million. Don't care. Like, he don't care. He's got enough money.
No, I agree with what Fozzie's saying there. Fozzie, how are you, my friend? Thank you for tuning in. Obviously, I'm sure we'll speak next week as we've got you guys. Let's just get Brighton out the way first, and then we'll thrash you again since it's at Anfield and we like playing well there. But yeah, I agree. I do agree with you, Fozzie. It is all about potential signings for Arsenal nowadays. They are looking to bring youth in, but we've seen it with Arsenal before, though, where they've bought youth and it's just not worked. I don't think I think at the moment, no matter who Arsenal bring in, until you make changes at the top, there's too much going on off the field. There's resent against the manager. there's too much drama at Arsenal to be thinking about youngsters playing. But yeah, fair. It is a very fair point. I mean, come Saturday, 3:00. Obviously, what time will it be for you?
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
So not too bad.
That's not too bad. It's them dinner time kickoffs that knacker you up in it.
It is, yeah. When I'm having to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning to watch us get tanked by Man City is not the best experience in the world.
It's all right. I don't know. I think I'd prefer that. I'd prefer that than waking up in the morning, waiting until 3:00, knowing you're about to get beat. I suppose if you just open your eyes and it's like there, you're just like, all right, yeah, fair enough. And then the rest of the day's your own. The fact that you build yourself up to see that shit week in, week out.
Yeah.
You're just like, no.
The West Coasters getting up at 4 a.m. to watch it is, I have a great deal of respect for the Albion fans, whether they're expats like me or whether they're just Americans that support the Albion over in San Francisco and stuff that are waking up at 4 a.m. to watch us play Liverpool. Like, every credit. Like, that's not quite, I'm not sure I could deal with that beating.
No, it's dedication at its finest, isn't it? And obviously, you yourself, as you say, you're in North Carolina, you're taking the games and stuff. Is it? I'm guessing. Did you say it's NBC where you are?
Yeah. So honestly, I was blown away. I haven't missed a game. They air every single game from every single Premier League team, and ESPN have an app that will do the same for the Championship. So it's outrageous the amount of coverage it gets over here. I was shocked when I moved over here because I was like,
wow.
back to the radio then, but no, they air every single one, so it's been really good. Nice.
I mean, the game itself, Burnley Brighton, even when you say it, you just think it's got one of those. It just sounds like a dull affair, doesn't it? I mean, they have been, haven't they? They've been the odd 1-0 here, 1-1, and there's not really been any games to really shout about in terms of dominance. There's always been late drama between the two sides. I mean, for you, who do you see as Burnley's danger man? Looking ahead to this game.
I mean, it's got to be Chris Wood in it, really. Compounded by the fact that he's ex-Brighton as well. Obviously, he only had a year on loan with us, but he was very good at the time. And to me, it's just the writing's on the wall. He's going to do something dangerous. And then Ashley Barnes as well, for the same reason. It doesn't matter whether he plays shit for 10 games. He will have a good game against us because he's Ashley Barnes against Brighton. So that entire front line is going to be interesting because they all are kind of ex-Albion and they always tend to show up. So.
Yeah, it's another strange one where I saw earlier on Twitter, one of the statisticians for Burnley Football Club had shared that there was one game where we played you guys. I'm not entirely sure of the date, but we won 1-0 through Charlie Austin. And up front at the time, you had Ashley Barnes and Sam Vokes. And obviously those guys both went on to play for us. Obviously Barnes is still with us. But yeah, see, for me, the danger man I look at on your side, I think it Basuma who scored that wonder goal last season at Turf Moor from edge of the box. I mean, he's class.
Game of the season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's an absolute class player. Another one of those players that I'm surprised hasn't made a move, to be honest, in this window. Obviously, as we've already stated, there is 3 weeks left. Can you keep hold of Basuma, or can you see a team like Man United are screaming out for sort of a CDM that's got an attacking intent?
They are. And Manchester United with Basuma would become very, very dangerous. Do you think that they've got that midfield set up of Bruno, Sancho, Pogba, Basuma? That's outrageous when you look at that group. But to me, I think every Albion fan is surprised that he's still here. We all assumed that at the end of the season, that was it. He's just a class above everybody else on the pitch most games. When you see Brighton play Burnley, you see Brighton play Norwich, you see them play Southampton, all the teams in and around us this coming season, and you see Basuma play, and he looks better than everybody else out there, both on Brighton and Burnley, both Southampton, Newcastle, whoever. He just looks better than everybody. And the only time he doesn't look better and he looks on a par is when we're playing City, Liverpool, United, play at teams like that. And everybody assumed he was a goner. And he's still here. I don't know how we've managed to keep hold of him. I don't know whether people have inquired and Tony has asked for a lot of money, just like he did with White, and everyone's kind of backed off on it. But the thing is that if he stays here another year, we're just going to be able to ask for more because he's still so young. He's not, he's 24 years old, I think. He's going to be 25 years old at the end of the season, and he's going to be off the back of probably another great one. So I'll take it because I love him. So.
Yeah, he's brilliant. And sometimes you need a player like that that's sort of the glue that holds the midfield together. You brought Lallana back. I mean, do you think he was brought back for sentimental reasons, or he still does have something to give to the league. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, we were linked with him as well. But as soon as Brighton came in, you knew he was going to go back. It was almost written in stone, to be honest.
So I think Lallana is a Dan Ashworth signing through and through. So's Welbeck. He knows that they may not be able to give 38 games of football, but he believes what they can bring to the back room is worth the risk. The reason he came to us over everybody else was everybody else only offered a 1-year deal. And he said this in an interview. Everybody offered him a 1-year deal except for us, who offered him a 3-year deal. And part of that 3-year deal is coaching and badge acquisition, with an idea of him becoming part of the staff at the end of that contract. And that was what he knows. He's not an idiot. He knows he's coming towards the end of his time, and that kind of development was massive for him. And that's just such a Dan Ashworth, Graham Potter type thing to do, isn't it? Like, bring in a player like that, and instead of having to worry about going out and getting another coach, let's cultivate one from within with the kind of experience and caliber that Adam Lallana has. He obviously passed their leadership tests or whatever, psychological stuff they threw at him. Why waste money on coaches when they can just bring in Adam Lallana? He can give what he can give to us for 2 years, and he can become a coach, and we've kind of promoted from within like that. So yeah, I was happy with it because it was free, and I can understand the pathway they're going down. If it was a 1-year deal, I'd have been like, what was the point in that? We already have enough. But yeah, from that perspective, it makes a lot more sense.
Definitely. So obviously, it's the first game of the season. I mean, is a draw a good point? Would you say it's the first game, isn't it? I think I touched on it on your podcast as well. That it's one of those opening day of the season. You expect to beat the teams that you think will be in and around you. So yeah, I'd take a point opening day, and that's only because I think I'm starting to have a bit of frustration with the club over the last couple of days. I did have a bit of belief, thinking we were finished 13th, but recent events have made me second guess myself. But yeah, how do you guys see your season going? And secondly to that, where do you predict that Brighton will finish this season?
The finish is a tough one. For me, the game, like you said, it's going to be tight because it's the first game of the season. And on my podcast, I rate teams, and I say, for the teams that I consider relegation candidates, we want to take a minimum of 3 points from them. Ideally 4, 1 away from home, 3 at home. And if we can take a point against Burnley at Burnley, first game of the season, I'll bite your hand off for it. That's a great point to start off with. It's never an easy place to go. It's a long way to travel for us. First game of the season, it's going to be a tough physical game. Yeah, I'll take a 1-1 or a 0-0 or something like that. Definitely, or a 3-3. I'll take it. I will not complain. So yeah, that's my thing. I would be very happy with the point as well. We have a nice start after that as well. We have Watford afterwards at home. I expect 3 points there. No disrespect to Watford, but they haven't impressed me in the transfer market, and they don't look particularly stronger than 2 years ago. So no. I would like to beat them. In terms of where we finish, 2 answers. if we invest the Ben White money in the next 3 weeks, which is entirely possible, if we do that and we invest the money, I think we're going to finish 12th. If we don't and we go with what we've got now, 16th, I reckon. Without being too pessimistic, I would bite your hand off to just not go down if we don't reinvest now, because we've got pretty much the same squad as last year. So, yeah.
No, that's fair enough. Totally fair enough. Obviously, a couple of predictions. The missus said 0-0 earlier. Craigie says 2-0 Wood and Dwight. Joey, thanks for tuning in, mate. Hopefully get you on after the game on Saturday. But we'll see. 2-1 Burnley win. I mean, I expect all this Burnley win stuff, to be fair, being a Burnley channel. But J-Rod, 87th minute winner in front of the cricket field stand. If Carlsberg did football matches, mate, they do shit beer on turf, so who knows? But yeah, just to finish off, then obviously you said you'd take a draw, but your score prediction?
1-1 for me. I wouldn't be surprised if we went ahead. You brought it back to 1-1 and piled on the pressure, and we just about squeaked out with a draw. It just feels like that kind of game. I think we'll probably get out and just run for the hills by the end of the game. So yeah, 1-1, I think.
Oh, solid. I'll as I say, I'll take that. I'll go. I was going to say I said 1-1 the other day actually, so I'll back up your comment. To be fair, Rich says he predicted 1-1 last night, and he'll stick with it. So yeah, as I say, I think there's a lot of people going for a draw. It's the opening day of the season. I think we're all just looking forward to it. Some competitive football, a bit of actual football noise, not this generated scar crap that we've been getting. So yeah, actual, being able to have that banter with the away fans as well. I think that's going to be, another one of those. You ask the question, and sometimes you think that. Well, I've said it to friends in the pub that. Is it going to be the same after everything that's gone on with COVID and stuff? Is it going to be one of those where, usually a goal's scored in the dying minutes and you and your mates jumping all over everyone? You looked at side and there's a guy that's fallen 3 rows in front of you. And, I'm going to miss, if that's not back, I'm going to miss that. I don't want us to be all Southampton and Prawn Sandwich Brigade and just sat there like this. I want us to dive about on each other. Sod the rising cases, football's back. Football's back. Sod your COVID. Shove it up your arse. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to having fans back in the stadium. Should make for a good game, and as I say, may the best team win come Saturday.
Yeah, agreed. And I think you're going to get that too. I do, to address that. I do think you're going to get. I think the Euros has been a good. I think the Euros was a good barometer for what you're going to look at in stadiums, and it was mental. So I don't see it changing. But like you said, it's just nice to have football back. It's been 4 weeks since the Euros, and obviously we binged on football with it going on and on. It feels like it just never had a break. We've had 4 weeks, and I already am massively refreshed and want it again. So yeah, I don't think it will. I think the stadiums being full again will be brilliant. I can't wait to get that back on my TV screen. I hate not being able to be there anymore, but it is what it is. And yeah, I think it'll be a good game to open up. Burnley always has a good atmosphere. It would just be very interesting to see how some of these players do with fans back. I don't know about Burnley, but from the Albion side, Solly March is a player that we earmarked as a player that has come leaps and bounds without fans. Is it going to send him backwards, or is it going to elevate him more? Likewise for some Burnley players, maybe how are they going to deal with the change again? So it's an intriguing thing to look at for the first couple of weeks.
Definitely. So thank you very much, Josh, for coming on. Obviously, I know it's just after dinner time where you guys are.
No worries.
Literally, we're on the beer already. It's a couple of beers and then off to bed. It's nice, nice comfortable evening. Preparation for Saturday, as I like to call it. Start early. Not that I'm going to wake up and crack one of them open, by the way. We're not all like that. There is some people in Burnley that are like that, but definitely not me. We all have our section of fans that will just hit it in the morning. But no, thanks again, Josh, for coming on. It really does mean a lot for giving us your time. Again, give your channel a plug and tell us about what you've got coming up for the channel as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me. First and foremost, I'm being paid to do this. I'm on the clock, so I really appreciate giving me something to do. Because, like you said, it's just after dinner time, so I'm working still from home, technically. And yeah, Together BHA is the podcast name. I do an episode a week, just reviewing games and all that sort of stuff. Unless something hits the fan. Super League, for example, emergency episodes will be convened. And other than that, there is a possible massive change coming in the future in terms of possible co-hosts. So keep an eye on that. Maybe a bit of a change to the podcast format. But yeah, we'll be taking a look next week at what's been going on with this game, and we'll go from there. So thanks again for having me. I just love talking football, so I could.
Yes. That's the best thing. That's the best thing about doing this, that it brings everyone together, different fan perspectives, and as you say, we get to chat about football, and it's something we love. So why not? Rich says before you go that he's subbed to the channel. So
thank you, Rich. You can find me anywhere: Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, iTunes. Like, I do both. I do the videos, I do the live streams like this, and then I put it straight onto the podcast stuff. So
did you say you're on Twitch?
I am, yeah.
Right, next time I have a look through YouTube videos and I see Harry Redknapp, I'll keep a lookout for your name coming up.
Yep, Together BHA on Twitch.
But no, thanks again for coming on. It means a lot. And obviously, apart from Saturday, good luck for the rest of the season.
Likewise.
No problem. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So, guys, there you have it. Obviously, Josh has come in, and thank you very much for coming on and giving us a perspective of, obviously, Brighton and Hove Albion. And I nearly struggled with their full name then. I don't know why. But yeah, thanks, guys, for tuning in. It does mean a lot. We will take a couple of comments. Caden Smark says, I hope I've said your name correctly. Says, good review. Cheers. No, thank you very much for tuning in. It does mean a lot. Richard Cox says, evening, Dan. Hope you're well. Evening, Rich. How are you? Hope you're doing really well. Joey has thrown his arms up in the air, and I'm guessing that's to the people that like a drink. Just don't correct me. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Joey, but, I don't think I am. The missus says she's watching me, I'm guessing. I don't know what's happening now. But yeah, Rich is obviously subbed to Josh's channel. So yeah, guys, do head on over to Josh's channel. Obviously, he does a lot of stuff about Brighton, but we are one big community on YouTube, so please do head on over there, show some love and support to all these content creators. It does mean a lot. Obviously, as well, please do sub to us. If you're new around here, do hit us up on all our socials. We are at Turf Moor House on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We are trying to branch out, if I can keep up with it. That's the sort of like little fast terms and conditions that are thrown in there. Mark says, I love a can. Yep. I mean, you can't beat the odd one or two. Settle down at night, nice and cushy. Joey says, 8:30 start Saturday, pal. I am already anticipating the message from the missus saying, if you think you're going out at 8:30, you can think again. If she doesn't put that in the chat, then she's going to tell me when I come off air. But yeah, I mean, I'll be out when I can, Joey, ahead of the game. You guys as well, obviously, thanks a lot for tuning in. Do stay tuned. Obviously, check out all our socials. Obviously, being from Burnley, there is the Carabao Cup round 2 draw. So that's going to be drawn later on. Obviously, look out for Burnley. Burnley are number 5 in the draw, so keep a lookout for us then. Other than that, thank you again. What's Ashley saying? If it's bots, I'm right, and it does. If it's not in writing, it doesn't count. The missus says no, Joey, but Big thumbs up to yourself, Caden, as well. And there you go. Oh, can't make a wife out of a... No. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. It does mean a lot. Saturday's game, first of the season. I can't wait. I mean, I already know. I already know what I'm doing. But yeah. Trust me, she's on. She thinks I'm on dad. Well, she knows I'm on dad duties after the game, so she's on mum duties before it. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Last comment from Asher, up the Clarets, exactly that. Again, do head on over to our channels. Please do subscribe. Obviously, Josh's link is in the description as well, so do go head over there. That's all I've got to say. Do join us. We will be doing a match reaction after the game as well when we get back. I'm hoping to do a match reaction, fingers crossed, before the missus heads out, which shouldn't be long, half an hour of a job. But yeah, please do stick with us. Match reaction should be good because you'll get it live and raw from the horse's mouth of people that are wanting to say what they've got to say on the game. I've been Dan. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys really soon with another video. Thanks again.